So what we've done so far is cut the blade with a 4-inch grinder. We've polished it down to about an 80 grit sand. We've got a nice sword shape to it. We've got it cut to fit the handle. We've made the handle. We've completed the handle. It fits very snugly. You can't take it off without using a mallet. You can't put it on without using a mallet. So it's going to be very snug, and we're going to have a single pin going through the lower tang right here and through the cop and the handle, and that will hold it on the blade without putting any holes along the length of the tang through here. Therefore we won't have any structural weakness. A lot of the swords that I've had to reforge over the years have had holes drilled in the tang right about here, and people go out and hit something with it and they break first time it makes contact with anything that gives any real resistance, and we're going to try and avoid that. So this will be superior to most of the over-the-counter swords you can buy at a knife shop. Anyway, what I'm going to do is get started on sanding this, and I'll show you what we've got when we're finished. So as you can see, I try and take it down equally on both sides. So I do about 5 strokes per side just to keep balance. And then I flip and do 5 strokes each side again. And I just keep working it until I get it to the highest sheen that this paper can take it to. Once the paper stops doing its work, it's time to move on. And every once in a while you get the small discolorizations where you get spots that aren't cut evenly on the plate, where you might have dug in too deeply with the 4-inch grinder. In those cases, what I do is I back it up with my finger. So you're going to take it up above the guide plate on your sander. You'll put your finger behind the sandpaper, and it'll kind of hold it into the glue that's on the blade. We want to take it to completion. As you can see, that little divot is now cleaned out, and it's polished to the 120 grit that we're at now. So when we go to the next level, we're not going to have to work that spot quite as hard to get it cleaned out. And eventually that divot will get washed out. You won't be able to see it. So that's the next step. So what I'm trying to show you here is what a blade looks like when it's nearing finish for a sanding grit. Now you can see as I turn it, here and here and here, there are some dark spots on the camera that you can see. For me, they are I can actually see the variance in the sanding grit. those areas haven't been taken to completion yet. They're not ready. I don't want to move on to my next level. My final levels of finish, I want the entire blade to be scarred evenly at the current grit. I don't want to have any remainder of the last grit on the blade, if that makes sense. So the last grit before the 120 was 80, and the 80 leaves deeper marks. You want all of those marks gone before you move on to the next. It makes the polishing process a lot easier. The other thing is, if you take this to a full mirror polish, having an even polish across the blade will make it cut that much easier. It'll slip through evenly, and so you won't get funny cuts when you're cutting with it. See if I can show you some other variances. So I'm bringing it close to the camera. Let's let the camera adjust. Alright, it's still a little hot coming off the sander. Let's see, maybe with a little blue behind it. There you go. You can see towards the tip of the blade, there's not a lot of variance now. It's a very even at the tip of the blade versus where I was showing you here, where you see the brown spots. Those dark spots, they have not been polished all the way through. You can see how the light catches in them. Those abrasions are going to screw up your cuts. You want to get them polished evenly so the blade reacts evenly when it's cutting. See, there's another one. And so it takes time and patience. This is something that you have to take time with if you want to make. The more time you spend polishing the blade, the better it will cut.